Mayan Buntag, and welcome to another exciting episode of My Filipino Adventure. I'm Mike, your American tour guide, and Ina's over there looking at catalogs for Costco. Hi, honey.
Hi.
She's right there, told you. So, I get a lot of emails and messages on our Facebook, and if you don't belong to it, this is My Filipino Adventure. We have a Facebook page, and you can message me there. And if you do and I don't get back to you right away, trust me, I will get to it eventually. I just don't spend a whole lot of time on the computer. And I get a lot of questions about relationships and how did I do this with Yna and ask for advice. And I'm usually not big on giving a whole lot of advice, but I guess that's what this channel is kind of about. But I had an interesting one last week with a fella, and I'm not going to mention any names, of course, but he's a subscriber, and he was saying that do I have to go to the Philippines? Do I have to apply for the K1 visa? Do I have to apply? Do I have to go to the Philippines? And of course you do. You have to have proof that you've been there and visited her at least once in the last 2 years and show proof of that. And I think she was trying to tell him that video messenger was enough. And of course it's not, and she was pressuring him to go ahead and start the visa process, and they had only been a few weeks into the relationship. So that's one thing that I have also found in my experience at the beginning was Filipinos move fast. A lot of them want to get out, a lot of them want to have foreign boyfriends, and they don't want to lose out. And it could be from their past experience of just being toyed with by foreigners. So they want to lock that stuff down right away, and or it could be that some of them are just wanting to get out of their current situation. So it's hard to tell. So I guess my first advice was just to slow down. If you want to meet a Filipina or get into a relationship with a Filipina, the easiest way is to go onto one of the dating sites, and that's how I met Yna at asiandating.com, and I know quite a few other couples who have met on that website. And I know there's a Filipino, Cupid, and I think there was a couple Christian ones, and then there's a free one is a Date in Asia, which is full of a lot of scammers, so watch that one. All of them going to have their share of scammers, but I find that free one has a lot more, because with most of the websites you have to pay a monthly fee to be able to communicate with the Filipina, and they get on for free. They don't have to pay anything, but you have to pay to actually send and receive emails. And even if your first email is exchanging other means of communication like Facebook or WhatsApp or Viber or Skype, of course they're not going to make any money if you could do that, right? So that's why they charge. I think I only did it for 1 month. I think it was like $25. So that's and you're going to get bombarded at the beginning. You're going to get absolutely bombarded with people who want to meet you, from the believable to the not so believable. But I have a whole video about internet dating, so I'm not going to go too much into that. But I'm just saying is take your time, talk to a few. You can even set filters if you don't want a certain ages, or if you don't want ones with kids. You definitely should avoid anyone who is separated or had been married, because marriage is illegal in the Philippines, and it's not always the easiest to get out from underneath that. So do your due diligence on that. And especially before you start any of the K1 process, I mean, really take your time. I think we didn't start the K1 visa process, Yna and I, until over a year that we had been dating. And in that year, I had probably flown over there and visited her 3 times. And I had met her family, and at her house. And, we had spent a lot of time. And of course, you message and talk every single day. So there's no rush. They will try to hit the accelerator, but you can hit the brakes. So, it's a two-way street there. But if they're serious and if you're serious, just take your time. It's very important also to visit there and experience the Philippines, because the cultural differences will play a part in your relationship. know how the country operates, not so much internally or infrastructure, but culturally. Know why they're like they are, from the geographics of their location, not just of the barangay, just of the Philippines in general. It's an Asian country. What are the influences? What are the cultural differences? How do they live their life? What are the similarities between the two countries? And I think the only way you can really, really get a good grasp on that is to visit there and spend some time. And not just once. I recommend that you visit there more than once to really, really get a feel. I thought I had a pretty good grasp on it after the first trip. And I thought, yeah, this is pretty cool. I know a lot about the Philippines. And then when my second trip, I'm going, oh, Jesus, I learned so much more. And each trip after that, I learned even more and more and more. So, yeah, take your time and really, because like I said, it's going to play an important part down the road. If you do get your Filipina here to the United States, which is not as easy as it used to be, you should really be vested in their culture, so it will lead to a more peaceful union between you two. And I think you know what I'm talking about. You really need to experience how their life is, and it'll make your life happier. So it's like I said, take your time. That's really important to and then get to know them. You just can't be in a couple weeks and then starting the K-1 visa. I know a lot of people are anxious to get the ball started. A lot of people are anxious to be in a relationship, and especially at the beginning, is a lot of magic, and you just oh, it's so exciting, but that wears off pretty quick. So you're gonna have to be in love with the person before you even think about starting the K-1 visa process. It's timely and it's not free. And it's quite a bit of paperwork and legwork to get that done. So I guess my big tip would be to take your time. Don't necessarily, I would say, play the field, because if you're single at this point, and they're all single at this point, talk to quite a few. Pick through 5 or 7 different Filipinas on the websites that pique your interest, and have a conversation going with them, and you'll start dropping some off. Say, well, this one's not really going so well. This is not really my type. And these two right here seem to be really who are I'm having some chemistry with. You go to those ones, and then pretty soon you'll get down to the ones that you feel are a good match, and that goes both ways. They do that too. They'll say after a while, they might say, nah, maybe you're not the foreigner for me. I lost my train of thought because my beautiful wife just walked by. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just don't lead any of them on, because this is the tricky part. They're going to want to push. They're going to want to push into, a couple. They want to say that so you're not talking to anybody else. It's just me and you. That's a fine line how you want to handle that one, because if you say, no, I'm talking to a few other ones, they tend to get a little jealous and they might drop off. But that's the chance you have to take. And it's just like being single here in America. You can date several women before you really commit to one, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that goes for both sexes too. So I would say that's a good start. And then of course, fly over and meet with them. Or I know people who fly over, like with Yna and I had already planned my trip. I was going anyway. I just wanted to go experience when I had a vacation. I started going into the online dating after I had bought my ticket, from advice from somebody that I knew. And I had met Yna a week beforehand. And so I had actually was in Cebu, and I met up with another girl that I was talking to in Cebu. But I could tell right away that there was no chemistry there. It wasn't going to work out. And plus, to be honest, I kept on thinking that in 4 days I get to go down and meet Yna, and that's who I really, really wanted to meet. But I was always, already in that situation. So, and it just, for our luck, that it worked out quite well. We spent the next 11 days together, and everything is, as you can tell, as we are now. I hear her stop hiding on the steps. Where are you at? I heard you just coming up the steps and then she paused. She wanted to see if I was going to say anything incriminating. Say hi, everyone. To my lovely wife,
Hi.
Yna. She was spying over there to see if I'd said anything.
I was listening,
I
guys.
heard your footprints and you stopped.
I
and
was
going,
listening.
Oh, she said there listening.
Maybe he's talking behind my back.
Yeah, those are important steps to take. Take your time. You must fly over to the Philippines to meet your prospective bride before you start the K1 process. And not only is that the legal way, it's also the more common sense. You got to meet them face to face. And I advise meeting their family. And I say, see how they live, see their surroundings,
That's right.
and spend time traveling with them, because
That's right.
that's a good way to get to know someone. Is spending 6 hours in a bus with someone is, that's a good way to spend time with them. So we did that. I think we were together for at least a year before we filed the K1.
Yeah, we're
2 or
almost
3 visits.
You're almost 2 years before you filed the K1.
Was it 2 years? No, it was.
Almost.
I think it was almost 2 years until we
Almost 2 years.
got our K1. But we applied about 9 months before that. So it was over a year that we had been together, and I think 3 trips.
Yeah.
Three
trips.
Three trips
before.
to visit before we even filed the K1 visa. We had talked about it sooner, but so take your time, get to know someone, because this is a lifelong commitment. So
True.
don't rush into it, and don't be pressured by the Filipina to move the process forward if you're not comfortable, and use a lot of common sense. So that's going to wrap up this little tips from Uncle Mikey. And until then, please subscribe, like, share, comment, and as always,
Stay blessed.